Welcome back
to SOCIALeyes,
starring your host, Crazy Carrie, and the Wise Guy.
And right now,
we're reading The Black
Black
Couch. Thanks for hanging out with us. We are on chapter number 9. Chapter number 9. Amazing book so far. Absolutely having a great time reading it.
Guys, remember, it's one of the international bestsellers, though.
The international bestsellers, yes. It's on that list. A Boy Called Christmas. So let's summarize. It's pretty quick. His dad went to find Elfhelm, and he was left with his Aunt Carlotta, who's super mean, and just fed him turnip soup, which happened to be his doll that his mom made him. His mom was killed by a bear. Rotten turnip soup. So he went outside and puked into the hole in the ground, which is actually the outhouse. So it's kind of gross. So
they pee in public.
Yeah, and he puked there too. So lots is happening. Now he's taken off. They're in a blizzard. Well, it's not in a blizzard, but he's in a pile of snow, and he's left. And he's on a journey with Mika to go find his dad.
Yes.
All right, we are up to date. If you have any questions, let us know in the comment section below. Smash that like button. Before we get started, make sure you smash that like button. Tell us what you think about the stories so far. I'm going to read first. Here we go. This chapter is called The Old Lady. He walked all night and all of the next day. He looked out for the tall brown bear and saw paw prints in the ground, but not the creature itself. He walked to the edge of the pine forest and followed the path around the banks of Lake Blitzen. Ooh, that's an interesting name for a lake. Keep that in mind. The lake was so big and the water so pure and still that it was a perfect mirror of the sky. He traveled for days and nights. He spotted moose, and yes, on 2 occasions he did see more bears, black bears. And once he had to climb a tree and wait on an hour up in the branches for one of the bears to get bored and trudge away in the snow. He slept curled around the roots of trees with Mika in his pocket or on the ground beside him. He lived on mushrooms and berries and fresh, cool water. He kept himself happy by singing Christmas tunes to himself. Oh, you better watch for Christmas. Even though it was nowhere near Christmas and weeing holes in the snow, he imagined being rich and waking up on Christmas Day, having all the toys in the toy shop. Then he imagined something far better, giving his father a horse and cart. But all the time, as he walked, it grew colder. Sometimes his feet hurt. Sometimes he went hungry. But he was determined to keep going. He eventually passed through a village called Sipajarvi. Sipajarvi, is that the right pronouncing? That's a tricky one. Sipajarvi. Sipajarvi.
No.
Sipajarvi. Jarvi. Sipajarvi. Yeah. That his father had told him about. It was just one street full of little wooden houses painted red. He walked along the street. An old, toothless lady, bent double over a walking stick, was coming along the road. In Nicholas's limited experience, every village always had to have one old, toothless person walking around and saying scary things to strangers. So he was pleased that Sipajarvi was no exception. Where go you, mysterious boy, with a mouse in your pocket? That's my voice for that lady.
High five.
She said.
No. is all he told her.
What'd you say? I can't hear you.
Who still hadn't really got the point of the drill. The old woman was quite weird, but not weird enough to understand mouse language. So she just looked at Nicholas and shook her head. Not north, she said, her face as pale as a pale sheet, obviously. Go east,
High five.
she said, or south or west. Only a fool would go
High
north.
five.
No one lives in that land, where there is nothing here. Well, I must be a fool, said Nicholas.
There is nothing wrong with being a fool, said a fool, with little bells on his shoes, who was passing by. The thing is, I'm looking for my father. He's a woodcutter. He's called Joel. He wears a red hat. He has a very tired eyes. He only has 9.5 fingers. He was with 6 other men. They were on their way to the far north. The old woman considered him. Her face creased like a map. And, speaking of maps, she pulled out something crumpled in her pocket and handed it to him. A map. There were some men. Yes, now I think of it. 7 of them. They came through at the start of the summer. They had maps. Nicholas felt a surge of excitement. They dropped this one? They dropped this one. Have they been back? The old lady shook her head. I tell you, those that go north never return. Well, thank you. Thank you so much, said Nicholas. He tried to smile and hide his worry. He had to give her something, so he decided upon berries, as he didn't have much else. Please, please have these berries. The old lady smiled in return, and Nicholas saw her gums were brown and rotten. You are a good boy. Take my shawl. You'll need all the warmth you can get. And Nicholas, who could feel that even Mika, though relatively warm inside his coat pocket, was beginning to shiver, took the gift and thanked her again and went on his way. That's important. See? To give and expect nothing in return, and then she gave him something in return, which is probably going to be very important. What do you think about that? His act of kindness to give her berries in thank you for the map, and then she gave him a shawl because there was those pleasantries exchanged. There's the map. So the Lapland, far north. We got very large mountain. That's where he is. Sappejarvi.
Christine and Kaupunki is over
Christine
there.
and Kaupunki, that's where
And
they're from.
Turku.
Turku's down there. Helsinki is down there. It's in the south.
Where's
Finland is down there. This is Finland. Probably original Finland. Helsinki, Turku. Yep. High five. You can show the picture.
But it was your turn.
Go ahead. That's the map. That is the map, and now he has a map. That's important to have a map, to know where you're going to go.
Right
Especially if you're traveling north. Follow the North Pole.
Ooh, up here it says Elfham.
Elfham, that's where he's going.
Yeah, right here. Right here.
All right.
Right here.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
Never saw it. Oh,
Ooh, look at the reindeer.
I think that's where they'll meet one of the reindeers.
All right, speak up. Make sure you read loud. Let's go.
And he walked, following the map, over plains and ice-covered lakes, and snow-covered fields, and forests full of spruce trees. One afternoon, Nicholas sat down underneath one of the snowy spruce trees and checked his feet. They were covered in blisters. The only bits of skin that weren't covered in blisters were bright red, and his shoes, which had been tatty to start off with, had practically fallen to pieces.
It's no use.
He told Mika.
I don't think I can go on.
I'm
too tired.
It's getting too cold.
I have to go home.
Even when he said that word home, he realized that he didn't have one. There was the cottage in the pine forest that wasn't home anymore. Not with Aunt Carlotta. I meant Karen Alta living there. Not when he even able to sleep in his own bed.
Listen,
Mika, he said, feeding the mouse on a mushroom. He sat down by a tree. It might be best for you if you stayed in this forest. Look at the map. I don't know if we'll make it.
High five. Nicholas and Mika peered over at the map, but the path they had to follow was illustrated by a dotted line. Where is the dotted line? Oh yeah, it's right there. That's like footprints, kind of looks like on the map. That looked like footprints, see? In the snow. The map had no straight lines on it. It was just one long curving path weaving through the forest, around the lakes towards large mountains. He knew the mountains was large because it was called, on the map, Very Large Mountain. He lifted the mouse out of his pocket and placed him on the ground. Go on, Mika. Leave me. Look, there are leaves and berries. You'll be able to live here. Go. Go on. The mouse looked up at him. Leaves and berries. Don't insult me with talk of leaves and berries. Seriously, Mika, it's for the best. But Mika just crawled back into Nicholas's foot, and Nicholas put the mouse back in his pocket. Nicholas rested his head on the mossy ground and pulled the old lady's shawl over him, and right there, in daylight, he fell asleep. As he slept, snow fell. He had a dream about being a child and going to the hills near the Lake Blitzen, and of being on the sleigh as his father pushed him and his mother laughed. He was so happy inside that dream. There was a scratchy feeling, and he sprung awake. Mika was pawing at his chest and squeaking with fear. What is it, Mika? I don't have a clue, Mika squeaked. But it's really big, and it has horns on its head. Then Nicholas saw it, the creature. It was so close that moment, he didn't know what it was. It certainly seemed large from where Nicholas was sitting, but it wasn't a bear. It was covered in dark gray fur and had a broad, strong-looking head, like a moose, but definitely not one. The creature's chest was heaving with deep breaths and wasn't gray, but as white as the snow. The animal was making strange noises as if it was a pig crossed with a wolf. He saw the large velvet-haired antlers that bent and twisted like trees leaning in the wind. Then he realized it was a reindeer, a very big and very angry reindeer. It was staring straight at Nicholas. Oh my God, who do you think that is, Rudolph?
Lake Blitzen?
Ah, that was the clue. I think it's Blitzen, because on the map, there literally is Lake Blitzen. And I think that Lake Blitzen was named after that special reindeer with white fur.
Yeah,
white as the snow.
I think it's Blitzen.
I think it's Blitzen too. But why is Blitzen so angry looking?
Let's find out.
Is Blitzen like Grumpy Bear? Angry bear. Yeah, very interesting. So Mika's staying with them. They're going to be together forever.
In the next video.
Love you. Smash that like button.
Smash it.